But first, for all the challenges we have, for all the issues facing the world and here at home, despite everything this year, I wonder how many of you share my growing sense of optimism about the future. Now, yes, for a long time, a lot's been going wrong. But right now, as we move into 2025, some big things are starting to go right. The attack on Australia Day, it's finally starting to subside. We've won, and now we've got to lock it in. The energy madness, the emissions obsession, so many people are now starting to wake up to what it really means, and they're fighting back. On peak woke, it looks like we're finally starting to turn the corner. And in Canberra, there's an increasing chance of a much-needed change of government, given the Prime Minister's continuing slide in the polls. Now, I'll get you the latest update on that in a moment. Much of this, of course, is a byproduct of the Trump ascendancy. Whatever you might have thought of Trump, the candidate, as incoming president, he's shaking things up things that badly needed shaking up. He'll end this crazy replacement of reliable, affordable energy based on fossil fuels for energy that only works when the sun shines and the wind blows.
And we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill.
He'll stop the appeasement of dictators in Beijing, in Moscow and in Tehran, united only in their hatred of Western civilization. He'll call out all the Islamist fanatics who want to kill in the name of Allah, and he'll end the scourge of illegal migration that's destroying any goodwill for the legal kind and is radically changing the culture of countries in the West for the worse, not the better.
We will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered.
The mere prospect of Trump's re-election has already caused major US businesses, led by Walmart and Meta, to drop all their discriminatory hiring practices aimed against white men, and most of the rest of the diversity, equity and inclusion agenda as well. And with Trump, there'll be none of this confusion about who is and who is not a woman. No concession to the trans lobby's demands that biological men invade women's sport and our change rooms.
Always remember, this is so easy. This will be done tomorrow. We will keep men out of women's sports. It's over.
Trump may not be the president you like, but he is the president the world needs right now. Imagine if it was Kamala Harris being inaugurated tomorrow, our time. Does anyone think that Russian and Chinese leaders would be uncertain about their next move, or that there would be even the current limited release of Israeli hostages barbarically held for more than a year? Now, he may not be polite, erudite, or even especially consistent, but he's always clear, he's always strong, and with few exceptions, what he says he will do, he does. High tariffs, especially against China, will stop the deindustrialisation of the West, even if there's some short-term downside for our economy, given our China trade dependency. His demands for much higher defence spending will force countries like those in NATO, like us, under this Labor government too, to take our responsibilities seriously, even if that means awkward trade-offs between national security and social security. What's obvious with the rapid naming of senior members of the incoming administration and the blizzard of executive orders that the new president intends to make tomorrow is that Trump has given careful thought to what went wrong last time and is determined to make a difference from day one. Now, this says to me he intends to be a shock and awe president from the get-go. Clearly, he's worked out what he can do unilaterally and what needs congressional approval, and is going to focus initially on what can't be sabotaged by the woke left or any backsliders in the Republican Party, hence his heavy use of executive or presidential orders. Now, it's a bit of an echo of my old boss, Tony Abbott, who as PM swiftly sorted out all those problems where he didn't need the Senate or state cooperation, like stopping the boats, which he could do using executive authority. And there's a lesson here too for Peter Dutton, who is still the underdog, given that no opposition has won after just one term for nearly a century, and who must start thinking about how he too can bypass an inevitably recalcitrant Senate and Bolshevik Labor states. Still, it's hardly a surprise that today's Freshwater poll has Dutton drawing level with Anthony Albanese as preferred Prime Minister, well ahead too in net favourability, and the opposition ahead in two-party preferred terms. Because the Albanese government's knee-jerk response to every issue is to spend yet more of your money on doomed projects, this latest announcement today, $2 billion to prop up the aluminium industry, which is only in trouble because successive governments have put reducing emissions ahead of affordable and reliable power that's essential for heavy manufacturing like smelting. First, the government subsidises renewables to cut your emissions. Then it subsidises coal-fired power stations to keep the lights on. Then it subsidises your bills, at least a little bit. And now it's going to subsidise the aluminium industry to preserve a couple of thousand jobs left in Tomago, which is in New South Wales, Bell Bay in Tasmania, Portland in Victoria, and Kwinana in WA, which their own policies would otherwise kill. Now, this is all a giant merry-go-round, and it'd all be unnecessary if the government would let us make the most of our comparative advantage in fossil fuels like coal and gas. Now, if we can export them for others to use, drill baby drill, why not use them here?